Hello, this is Korath Landwalker, and today is going to be another afternoon of Star Citizen. For the next couple of hours, going to do some missions, rent a ship, maybe two, maybe not, we'll see how that works out, and generally bum around the Stanton star system. So, without further ado, we're going to hit the loading screen and hope that it comes up in a reasonable period of time. We'll see what happens. Now, I've done a bit of work, obviously, in the game while I've been offline to stream, and I've used a bit of that time to recoup some of the losses I've took from a few disastrous cargo runs. Hopefully, that will not be the case today. Then again, since the big goal here is doing some missions, 30Ks, which would be the server crashes, will hopefully not be as big an issue as they usually are. Now, my present location is on a space station, and it's not one of the usual space stations that I tend to stick around on. I believe that I last logged into one of the, or actually I logged out of, one of the R&R stations. And I guess that'll be a bit better illustrated if I hop onto my map. So why don't we do that now? In the Stanton system, we have a number of asteroid clusters, and they tend to have their own little orbits, and they're claimed by a number of planets depending on which orbits they're closest to. For example, the two here are Hurston L1 and L2, and I believe, and Hurston has a number of them actually. We have her L4, 3, 5. Crusader has a number of them as well. Artcore. Microtech, unfortunately, got the short end of the stick with only one cluster of rocks to deal with. But in many of these clusters, such as the one I'm in right now, there are space stations. In this case, her L2, which is the Faithful Dream Station. Now, I'm not entirely sure what motivated the naming of these stations. That the names are actually pretty recent. Well, unless someone did something to the game way back when. I can't rule that out. And then remove them by the time I joined, and then put them back in. It's possible. Point being, it's new to me. I don't recall seeing names on these stations until about a patch or two ago. Now, I took my trusty freelancer here, and this will possibly be the only time you will see the freelancer in use here today on this stream, because one of the things I'd like to do with the money that I gain is try something different, like a different starship. I mean, I can, keep streaming on freelancers till cows come home, as they say. What would be the point, though? I mean, you'd be seeing the same thing over and over again. And ship rentals is they are a reasonable way and affordable way of trying out new starships. Now, each of the major landing ports, with the exception of Port Olisar, has a location where you can rent starships. Not all the ships are rentable, and not all the ships at one station may be rentable at another station, or a landing port. Since I happen to be so close to Hurston, and since Hurston is the hotbed of criminal activity in the star system, I realize that you can make an argument for a Rapid Crusader, thanks to the existence of Grim Hex. But I find there are almost always bounty missions or mercenary missions to fight at Hurston, where I do not see them at Crusader. So let's see. Fortunately, it looks like I'm going to have to clear the station to get to where I want to go. So let's get some forward movement going.
Thank you. And please visit again.
I seem to be clear, so I should have no trouble aligning and activating the quantum drive to go. It's basically a hop, skip, and a jump to go to Hurston from that particular space station. So it'll be almost no time at all compared to some of the other travel times I deal with. Alright, and just like that, Hurston will be, oh, there it is. Coming in on the dark side of the planet.
Quantum travel complete.
And the bad news is it looks like Lorville is still on the night side as well, so it will be a rather dark landing area.
Quantum travel engaged.
Of course, I might get lucky. I might be on the Terminator line between day and night. You know, maybe I am. No, it's just on the dark side. Oh well, the good news about being on the dark side is that it's easy to find the spaceport area. Tisa Spaceport can be easily identified by those nice rectangular lines, and there'll also be vertical lines that are basically signage saying Tisa Spaceport. So I know I'm flying in the right direction. I'm going to get my communications online. With communications online, I will get notifications shortly that I am in range of Lorville's ATC, their air traffic control, and they will give me my route into the landing area. And that's where things get entertaining, because if you've been following 310, you know that while they have the landing splines to help you pass any no-fly zones, there's little issues with the hangar doors. And by little issues, I mean major issues. Luckily, since I'm flying the Freelancer, there we go. Since I'm flying the Freelancer, I'm not horribly concerned. Large ships are challenging between winds and the speed of those doors and a number of other things. For a medium ship like the Freelancer, I don't anticipate any major problems. Stay tuned. Now that I've said that, I've slapped fate in the face with a gauntlet, and I expect all kinds of embarrassing things to happen. Let's hope I'm wrong, eh? Alright, entering the landing splines, giving me the path through the no-fly zones, where hopefully I will not have to worry about the embarrassment of being stuck in an endless autopilot, which has happened. I'm going to cut my speed down. I'm going to turn on my headlights and see if I can nail down where precisely my landing bay is, so that I can at least head towards it. Oh, what do you know? I'm right above it. And look, as predicted, the landing bay doors are closed. That's really annoying. Uh-oh. Also coming down a little too quick. Okay, I managed to dodge a bullet on that one. Let's back up a little bit. Make sure I'm aligned. Because I don't want to get into these doors pretty quick. And let's contact them again saying, hey, I know you gave me a landing area.
No, that request has already been granted.
Yes, I know it's already been granted, but you closed the bloody doors, didn't you? Alright. Doors are open. And I'm going to try to make sure that I get in enough. Oops, I hear the doors closing, and I hope it's not mine. I'm going to turn off the headlights, they're a little blinding there. Try to straighten myself out a little bit while I get ready to roll the landing. I'm within box. It'll be interesting to see if I can refuel or not.
Landing successful.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Okay, that's one bit of good news. And the other bit of good news is, yes, I am inside enough to do the refueling. I'm convinced that the refueling restock bug that occasionally happens is related to how you land and where you land. Unfortunately, that's about as good as I've got. I can't nail down any more specifically except to hope that I'm within that blue box rectangle, whatever, in the hopes
Engines off. Weapon system off.
that'll take me where I want to go. Now, there's no such landing triangles on the landing pads at outposts, so the theory falls down a little bit there. I do the best I can. Okay, Freelancer. It was nice flying you today, but today we are going to fly something else. The only question is, what will something else be? Well, to do that, we must go to the spaceport lobby and visit Vantage Rentals. It is not what you would call an obvious location. It's a little spot right here in the little nook. It doesn't even rate the big area. I mean, if you go out over here, this is the New Deal area. This is where you can buy starships. I don't have that much credits to work with. I did once upon a time. I bought my ships, and then they went away thanks to the patch. They're working on something to make them more persistent. I'll believe it when I see it, but I'm not buying any ships anytime soon. So, let's take a look at the selection advantage, shall we? Right at the top, we have, well, we'll go by manufacturer because that'll cut down the number of things to compete with. I have 189 credits to play with. Now, I'm not looking to rent for longer than a single day, so that'll cut down the amount of time I need to rent. But, as you can see just from these first two offerings, we have a wide range of prices for a single day. The Vanguard Warden, for example, is a heavy combat fighter. However, it's also designed for a couple of people. It's got a turret up top, and that's a key part of their firepower. The Avenger Titan, on the other hand, is what I generally see as the most recommended starter ship, which is more expensive as far as the package goes than the Mustang package or the Aurora package. But on the other hand, it has more room than the Aurora, and it might have a little bit more firepower than the Mustang. missions, and a lot of people recommend this as a good starting ship. Needless to say, I did not pick that up as my starting ship, my starting package. It happens. The Anvil Arrow is one that I do not need to rent because that is one that I own, so there's no need to rent this, but you can see that's a very affordable 20,000 UEC. And right outside the box is pretty good, so if you're buying a starter package and you run some missions, you may find it worth your while to rent an arrow for a day and do a bunch of mercenary missions. You will have no trouble making back that 20k. Speaking of starters, Mustang Alpha. It's not much, but on the bright side, it is affordable. You will rarely be without 5,000 credits, unless you've done something really silly like, I don't know, do a massive cargo run with all of your credits tied up in your cargo and you get 30k. Drake Interplanetary has a couple of offerings. It's got the Drake Dragonfly, which is basically a hover bike, which is not showing up on this display. Oh well. And the Drake Cutlass Black. More on that momentarily, because this is our leading contender for rental today. From MISC, we have a few very important offerings. We've got the Freelancer, and you'll notice that the graphics on here are not necessarily what you're going to see in real life. Yeah, I went there. I just claimed this is real life. I'm bad. I'm horrible. I know. But you don't see these blocky things on the cockpit, for example, and the guns are not nearly that big. So how they come up with these images is a mystery lost to time. A very good rental prospect is the MISC Prospector. And while you can't do things like switching out the mining head, which would allow you to open up the really good rocks for good mining, you have a fair chance of making back your investment in a reasonable amount of time, certainly within the 24-hour period. Incidentally, yes, that one day is real-time days, meaning if I rent right now, then I will be able to rent until roughly 1:18ish p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Logging off does not help, does not extend it. Nor does it end at the end of today, technically speaking. It is a full 24 hours. A fun rental, but one with very little use right now, is the MISC Razor. And again, you can see that there are some issues here because, there we go. If you zoom out enough, you can zoom back in and see what you're looking at. This is a racing starship, but racing is not exactly a big thing, certainly not in the persistent universe at this time. Still, it does have weaponry and it does move pretty quick, and it's kind of a fun ride. Origins offerings, speaking of racing. On the one hand, we have, yeah, they really need to redo these images on here. Those engines are just, wow. I have nothing I can say there. But this is another racing vehicle, but it can fight. In fact, if you do a number of mercenary missions, you will often find the M50 Interceptor as one of your opponents, usually as a support craft. On the other end of the expensive world, we have the Origin 600i, which is exploration luxury. And as you can tell from the rental cost, it's pricey. I have rented this ship before just to see what it was like and wander around the interior. And while it's a nice interior and all that, I don't see where it would be very big for exploration, except for the pair of scanning stations on board, now that I recall. The scanning stations are kind of useless right now, though, because, say it with me, that gameplay does not yet exist. Moving forward, we have RSI, Robert Space Industries, with its Aurora, which is probably the cheapest rental that you can fly. And I add that qualifier for a reason. We'll come to that momentarily. But you can also rent a Constellation Andromeda gunship. And no, those guns are not really as big as they look. Come on now, that would just be nuts. Be cool, but nuts. This is primarily a multi-role ship. It's best with multiple people because combat capability-wise, a lot of its firepower is in turrets, and that means you need people. I believe it does have guns that you can use as a pilot, but that's a lot of cost for something like that. This last one that doesn't have an icon is Tumbrel Land Systems, and this is the cheapest thing you can rent from here. The Tumbrel Cyclone, which is missing most of its body here, but it is a wheeled vehicle. You drive it. You would probably rent this along with a starship that can actually carry the vehicle. I don't believe it'll fit in a Freelancer, but it might fit in a Cutlass. Not experimenting. So, as I have said, the Cutlass Black was going to be our...
The allotted time to depart. We will have to return your ship to storage.
Yes, be my guest. Return it to storage. It's not a problem for me. For a
Initiating
little less than
ship storage
30k...
For your safety,
Hey,
please
hey,
vacate the
30k.
area.
I really
Thank
shouldn't
you
taunt
for your
fate like
cooperation.
this, but I am. I feel like I have a good chance of being able to make up that money in multiple ways.
Initiating ship storage.
So let's confirm the rental for
For your safety,
27.
please vacate the area.
Let's
Thank
take a
you
quick
for your
note here
cooperation.
that right now, the amount of money that I have right now is 189,612. That's going to be important because I want to find out if I can make that money back. Now we'll rent the ship. Alright. I'm now at 161,906. Let's hop over to the terminals and see if the Cutlass is available. Now, because this is a rental ship, I cannot change the stock loadout. And you can see it right here. It tells me how long I've got to use this. So we'll just wait for it to give me a platform. How about that? Hangar 6. Let's see if I can do something crazy and actually remember that's in Hangar 6. Hopefully by saying Hangar 6 a lot, it will stick in my memory. I won't have to worry no matter how long it takes for this elevator to get here. Oh no, what hangar am I going to? 6. Now, the Cutlass Black is often compared to the Freelancer, and there's occasional debate as to which of the two ships is better. Now, just taking a quick peek at the outside, you see we have these massive VTOL engines. These thrusters are designed to get you vertically off the planet. We've got a couple of these side doors that are useful for zero-G exits. I don't know about zero-G entries, but hope springs eternal, right? We have a number of weapons on here, which we'll go into momentarily. Now, Drake Interplanetary has a reputation in the game of their ships being used for more piratical endeavors. I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but I'm just going to say that it's there. Now back here we have the cargo area. We may or may not make use of that. Let's turn on my lamp. I don't have power on the ship at the moment, so you can open the side doors by use of these interior buttons. And hey, I think they fixed that bug. Last time I was in one of these, one side was missing these. Rather embarrassing, really. Let's open up the side just for... And like I said, there's no ladder. So, if you jump out here, you're not getting back in except for that. Unless you happen to be in a zero-G environment, and you can just float yourself back in. That's pretty much all there is to it in here. This is, like I said, this is a cargo bay. You can also set down these chairs. But these you can actually sit in. That's a switch. I don't know if that was a new thing or if something got fixed, or if I'm thinking of a different ship that you were able to lower the seats but not actually sit in. Over here you have a weapons locker sort of thing. As I understand it, that kind of thing's bugged right now. You pull out your gun and you try to hook it onto the rack, it just falls down. Maybe they'll fix it. Who knows? Back here, we have a turret. And it's pretty similar to what you would see on a Freelancer, honestly. More on specific armament in a moment. Over to the side here, we have a bed. A bunk, actually, so you can have two people taking it easy here. And up front, two seats. A co-pilot seat and the pilot seat. Let's power everything on. We have...
Welcome aboard your Drake interplanetary craft.
Thank
Your
you.
systems are online.
We have a wide number of multifunctional displays here. I'm going to swap the heat one for communications. And I want to go to external view at the moment. Okay, let's see if the doors are open. Okay, I should be able to get out with no problem. Let's make sure. Okay, we pitched a little bit here, too much. And we are out. Let's take a quick spin around, see if there's any landing splines to work with. There we are. Naturally, it was pretty much the last direction I wanted to look in.
Thank you, and please visit again.
I'm going to change the VTOL. Alright, they changed the buttons for this. There we are. Some of the buttons changed thanks to the targeting for the keybinds. And because of that, I was hitting the wrong button to change the VTOL to forward propulsion. A little embarrassing. But only a little bit because it's an easy fix, obviously. Okay, let's kick up the landing gear. Let's not be embarrassed by that. And we can take a better look at the general, appearance of Cutlass Black. Now, for those who are unfamiliar, there are three variants for the Cutlass. This is the Cutlass Black, and this is what you would best call the generic version. There's also the Cutlass Blue, which is hyped for bounty hunting or police work, and is a little better armed maybe, and it has holding cells that do not yet work because that gameplay does not yet exist. One moment here, I think I have a spam call. And that should take care of the spam call. The Cutlass Blue is one of the three variants with the Cutlass Black, and the last one, and arguably the most useful at this time, is the Cutlass Red. The Cutlass Red is a medical ship. and has a medical facility. And what that generally means is you can respawn in it. You can set it as your preferred ICU, and you can spawn if you get killed into that vehicle, into that ICU. And that makes it very popular for bunker missions, where you have to fly your ship to a location, land it, go out, and do first-person shooter in it. And if you get killed, ordinarily you would spawn in at the last port you were at, like, say, Lorville. And you would have to take a different ship and fly all the way back and hope everything's still working properly there. But with the Cutlass Red, you can just respawn in the Cutlass Red. You're right there. In fact, you can even load the weapons rack if that has one. I'm not 100% sure if it does or not. And just pick things back up where you started. So we are going to grab a bounty. We're gonna go into the deep end with the CS3 bounty. We'll see whether or not this is a smart move or not momentarily. That'll give me 5,000 credits. I'm also going to swap into the mercenary section and grab Call to Arms, because that's free money for any additional ships nearby. My target is conveniently located here at the moon of Ita. Now you'll notice that one of the disadvantages of the Cutlass Black series, in my opinion, or Cutlass series in general, is the... Let's see, pointing the wrong direction. Okay, here we go. I have to hit no end point. Is that I have a 2D radar, as opposed to the 3D radar that you would see in the Freelancer.
Quantum drive is now on.
What can you do? Now, as far as weaponry goes on this ship, I have a heap of missiles. I also have a number of weapons, a mix of ballistic and energy repeaters. I'm going to put them all on the same weapons group, so I don't have to worry about monkeying with 2 mouse buttons. My missiles are both cross-sectional, which means, well, the short version is they don't care about your infrared signature, they don't care about your EM signature. They will go after your target. However, one is a strike payload, which means it blows up when it hits your target, and one is a proximity, which means if it gets close to your target, it blows up. And you'll notice the size is a little different too. These priority buttons, they don't actually work. One would hope that somewhere along the line they will, so that you can actually determine what missiles you want to fire off first. But, as Aragorn, son of Aragorn, might say, today is not that day.
Quantum drive is now on.
So I'm working with repeaters. That'll be my weapon of choice here, and hopefully I will not need to tap into missiles. But if I gotta, I gotta.
Quantum drive is now off.
Now, these weapons are gimbaled, so that will help someone who, like me, royally sucks at using the fixed weaponry. Although they have improved that, I'm told. And somewhere along the line, I will put that to the test.
Quantum drive is now on.
That test will not be today.
Quantum drive is now off.
Alright, targets are already appearing.
Our stop
And they are already shooting.
Your rear shield is hit.
Ironically enough, I am fighting a Cutlass Black.
Online. Shield system charging.
So it's Cutlass Black versus Cutlass Black. And instead of hitting my shape button, I've instead managed to... I am taking some serious damage here too, so this may have proven to be a mistake. Let me rephrase that. This has proven to be a mistake. Well, the good news is I'm in Lorville. The bad news is I'm in Lorville. And it looks like I've got a bug happening here too, because this is not... Oh. Okay, well that was entertaining for the few short minutes I was alive. And now I'm here again. It is a good thing that there is no, real major penalty for death. Because otherwise this situation would really suck. One would hope that they get that thoroughly fixed before the game actually is released. This is not happening soon. Sadly, because I am bound in Lorville at the moment, I have to take the long way to get to Spaceport again. But on the bright side, that means it's more time for the timer to count down for when I can claim the black again. Rental ships, much like ships that you own, are effectively perma-insured. Which means all I gotta do is get to the spaceport, get to the terminals, and say, I want to claim my ship back because it was destroyed, and I will get a new copy free of charge. This will not always be the case. But, to borrow another phrase, we play the game that we have, not the game we wish we had. The game we wish we had is still being produced. Always remember, this is an alpha game. This is a game that is, technically speaking, not ready for prime time, but folks who back it are allowed to play it and offer up valuable insights as to little details about the game that can help developers like, oh my god, I just respawned in midair, fell and died. Stuff like that. This is a side of game development that people generally don't get to see. I think that a lot of people have trouble with that. That, of course, this is not a game ready for a wide release. Because it's not. But I think they've made tremendous progress, and I'm certainly hopeful that something good will come out of this eventually someday. Honestly, if it were like this right now, if they stopped development today, oh okay, I'd still be a little irritated because I have a couple of pledges that are still outstanding. But if I had to, I could always melt those pledges and upgrade them to a ship that is out, or a number of ships that are out. With the gameplay we've got now, I'm mostly satisfied, except for the 30k experiences, of course. But I can certainly do a lot in this game that I was able to do in a number of other MMOs. That said, they promised a lot when they put together the campaign to initially fund this game. There was a lot of promises made, and I want to see them deliver. Oh right, it doesn't knock the timer down because I never claimed it because I wasn't here. So I can either wait 15 minutes for the claim to go through, or I can expedite and get it in 3 minutes. On the other hand, if I'm having to wait 3 minutes anyway, why would I pay that extra fee? So I'm going to take a moment, while that's counting down, to hop over to the new deal area that I spoke of earlier. They have a number of ships on display, including the M50. You might have seen that in the lobby of the spaceport too. Inside you can see the Misk Prospector. And the nice thing about seeing them in the showroom is You don't have to worry about those weird things you were seeing at those rental terminals. You're seeing them as they are.
Got some great stuff in stock.
We've got this one, which is an Origin 85 Limited. I don't recall exactly the details on this ship. Let me see if I can pull up any details. It's a touring ship. It's a one-man ship. Kind of racer, kind of not. Yes, of course I can't afford it. I can't afford anything in here. Over here we have the Aurora. This one is the LX, which is a different version of the MR. And if you go outside, oh, the one unforgivable thing about New Deal, it has exactly one terminal. One terminal to make purchases on. And they have a lot more stuff. Up to and including picking up your own Hammerhead gunship. And my god, as you can tell, this is just as messed up as the rental terminal. This does not have some of the really high-end boys, though, like the Anvil Carrack, and I don't think this has the Origin. Oh no, it does. The 890 Jump, the luxury yacht, for a mere 32 million credits. I have never gotten anywhere near 30 million. If you combined all my income and ignored the fact that I'd spent money, oh, I almost missed an area. Ignore the fact that I've spent money, I still would not have 30 million. Outside, you have a couple other display models. You've got the Mustang over there. You have a Constellation variant over there. I want to say that's the Phoenix. Yes, it's the Constellation Phoenix, which is the luxury Constellation. And we have the aforementioned Hammerhead. And an interesting fact is, if you can go to the right spots for these things, you can open them up and tour the interior. You can even power them on so you have light while you're touring. However, we are not about touring landed ships today. We are about trying to earn back my money to get to that magic 189k again. And some of that money is going to go away because I'm going to expedite
Definitely take a look around. Got some great stuff.
retrieval of my black there. Knock me down a little over 500. But on the right side, it's ready to go right now. Give it a moment. Hangar 9. Not to be confused with the other hangars I've been on. 9 is the number I want. That is the number I must remember. And this time, I think I might decide that perhaps missiles aren't a bad thing to use after all. I have no idea what the second ship hitting me was, but I'm willing to bet that it was probably a second Cutlass. So, back inside. I'm not worried about the ramp. When I click on the flight ready part on the activation sequence, all exterior doors close.
Hello and welcome aboard your Drake interplanetary craft.
Flight ready mode on.
Your systems
Swap
are
this
online.
to communications. Let's put weapon groups back, because I'm almost certain that they've reset. Since technically speaking, this is a brand new ship. Oops. I really should zoom in when I'm doing those things. Get the landing folks to do their thing.
Clear to launch.
Make sure the doors are open.
Launch complete.
Make myself level off when I take myself out. Oh, and I'm actually facing the right direction for a change. How did that happen? Up to the landing splines. Although I guess technically speaking, I'd have to call these the takeoff splines. And we'll crank up our speed as best we can in this atmosphere. And while that's at it, let's see. I'll have to redo that again because I'm still not out of atmosphere. And if I'm still not out of atmosphere, I am not going to be able to plot an accurate course. Once I'm out of atmosphere, I can go back in there and see if there's an orbital marker that I need to make use of. Which I probably do because I did on the way out the first time. That said, planets turn, and I might be able to get away with it. Like now. Alright, let's pull up the quantum drive. I'll kick on my gimbals early.
Quantum drive is now on. Landing gear up.
Because I am bound and determined to take out those guys, no matter the cost. You know, it's a funny thing. It's saying I have 16 missiles, but I could have sworn I counted less. Oh no, I was looking at the wrong column. I was looking at the size. I'm looking at the other end. Alright, those guys beat the living tar out of me last time.
Quantum drive is now on.
Now it's time for revenge.
Quantum drive is now off. Contact.
And he hasn't done a whole lot in the way of repairs, has he?
Rear shield is hit. Shield system online.
Okay, that's not good. Let's twist myself around a little bit, so hopefully they're hitting a different shield other than the one I need to have available.
Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
Well, the good news is the target is destroyed. The bad news is he wasn't the one I wanted to destroy first. Ah well.
Shield system charging. Shield system online.
My back shields are a bit of a mess right now, but it will be I should be assisted in the fact that I no longer have
Rear shield is hit.
somebody else shooting at him. Somebody else is.
Shield system online. Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
That was always good news. Now, who the heck was, quote-unquote, helping me? Agent Saber, Hurston Security. Oh boy, I got lucky there. It would have been far too easy to accidentally take a shot on these guys and end up with criminal status, which would slow me down substantially. I'm going to stop right now because I'm going to be looking for my next contract, and if this security guy decides he wants to scan me, I'd rather not him have to work hard for it. I might accidentally get crime stats without even knowing it. Okay, well, let's knock ourselves down. Well, I can't. Yeah, we'll knock ourselves down to a crime stat 2 bounty on here until I've gotten myself a little more confidence in the handling of this ship. Unfortunately, there we go. For a minute there, I didn't think I was able to get to that rendezvous beacon. And I find it interesting they're calling them rendezvous beacons now. They were quantum beacons, but they seem to have changed the name on me.
Quantum drive.
Okay, you had your chance, personal security guys. Now it's time to move on to Moon of Magda. This should be a pretty easy bounty, because even though there will be 2 opponents,
Quantum drive is now off.
none of them are likely to be medium-sized ships, and that makes them pretty much dead meat for Cutlass Black.
Quantum drive is now on.
Now the downside, of course, is that
Quantum
you
drive
cannot
is
pay as
now
much.
off. Contact. Contact.
Alright, let's see. Let's get the correct target first. This guy's flying a Mustang Delta, which means he's not going to last long.
Target is destroyed.
And now that I took him out first, the second Mustang will actually give me cash for taking him out. Thank you, call to arms.
Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
So that was a nice bit of cash. And pound for pound, one could make up a fair amount of cash just doing those bounties. We'll do one more of those right now if it's available. And where are we hiding? We are hiding at Ariel. Ariel's a popular moon. Oh geez, I don't think I even had my thrusters going when I was in that fight.
Quantum drive is now on.
Ariel's a popular moon because of the fact that a couple of its outposts are mining outposts that contain laranite. And laranite is the most profitable thing to trade in as far as cargo goes.
Quantum drive is now off.
And that made these moons really popular when there was a bug out that was effectively giving them unlimited amounts of supply of laranite. So traders were having a field day.
Quantum
That said,
drive is now
it also made it a field day for pirates who decided to hang around outside the armistice zone and take out anybody who was foolish enough
contact.
to basically leave themselves open in a trading vessel with light armament.
Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
Good for extortion. Pay us now, or be ashamed if something happened to your fully loaded caterpillar. You see the problem. Okay, that was a nice 2,500 right there. For those keeping track, that's 5,000 dealt with in under a minute.
Front impact warning.
Oops, I'm about to hit something. What am I about to hit? Oh, there's nobody in my way right now, so I should be able to swap out to a new contract. And let's do another crime stat 3 and go for another 5,000 plus, expenses. Back to Ida. Well, there's irony. Now, it's not just Cutlass Blacks that are CS3s. I mean, that was just the worst case scenario where you have 2 Cutlasses at you.
Quantum drive is now on.
But you could come up with, say, 3 Buccaneers, a Cutlass and a Buccaneer, a Cutlass, a Buccaneer, and a M50 Interceptor. I think that's better. As always, there's no way to really know until you get there.
Quantum drive is now off.
The nice thing about the changes of targeting and all that is I can actually maneuver around and still have my gimbal set without getting confused on them.
Quantum drive is now off.
Okay, which one of you is my target? Because, no, not you.
Your starboard shield is hit.
You're the one I want.
Front shield is hit. Shield
Oh,
system
no, he's
online.
not.
Starboard
Nuts.
shield is hit.
That's, there we go.
Shield is hit.
This guy is a buccaneer.
Shield is hit. Shield system online.
You know, guys, you're going to tempt me to start cutting missiles out very soon. The Buccaneers are a little bit better put together.
The front shield is hit.
They fight better than the Mustangs. They certainly are taking more abuse.
Front shield is hit. Shield system online.
I hope that's not telling me I have missile locks on me.
Congratulations.
There we
Target
go.
is destroyed.
Now for the extra cash.
Your starboard shield is hit. The front shield is hit. Shield system online. The rear shield is hit.
That's not good. I'm using shields in places I don't want to use
Shield
them.
is hit.
Oh, looks like somebody bounced off something. He's spinning around like crazy. I think I got lucky, and these are a trio of Buccaneers. Oh, there's another one down.
Congratulations. Target is destroyed. Shield system online.
That just leaves one more Buccaneer to go. They're fast. Oh, I don't know if that was desync or just high maneuverability. Well, looking at his shields, there isn't much left to him. Oh, his shields are coming back up pretty fast, though. Alright, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Either blow up by your guns, or you can blow up by something nastier.
Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
And that is how you do that. You know, no, we're still here. Let's grab another contract and see where it leads us. Still in the same mood, but at a different spot. Orbital marker first.
Quantum drive is now on.
And from
Quantum
there
drive is now off.
to the next target.
Quantum drive is now on.
And here we go. Let's see. Let's see what sort of bad people we
Quantum
can deal
drive
with.
is now off. Contact.
Let's start moving early. Smith. Having trouble locating my oh, it's because it's all the way down there. Trying to fight in the sun is rough. But that's good tactics from their point of view, because
Front shield is hit.
that's something that's even in modern.
Core shield is
Oh, geez, it's firing.
shield system online. Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
I seem to have accidentally taken out my target. I'm not arguing. Oh. I thought they'd ironed out the suicidal tendencies of some of these pilots.
Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
Last target.
Port shield is hit. Shield system online. Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
Well, that guy went down pretty easily. Let's try to get my direction so that I'm not heading towards a rock. So you can see that doing these bounty missions, I'm doing these things at 5,000 credits a pop. Now, in the great scheme of things, 5,000 is not much. And I'm also having trouble hitting my rocket boot beacon. There we are. 5,000 is not much. On the other hand, while 5,000 may not be much, it is a significant amount of the way towards the amount of money I spend to rent the Cutlass Black. And that means I have better than good chance of more than breaking even just during this stream. Now, another caveat. I have been playing a while, so I've got a decent idea on how to fight some of these things. It takes practice. Hello, Walker. You're flying a Cutlass. Well, you're not the only one who can log in those missiles. Why am I losing block? Here we go. Oh, well, I guess I didn't have to worry about him, did I? Let's see. Buccaneers. Okay, that was good of him. I need those shields. I really did not expect that Cutlass to go down that quickly. I was all set to unload a number of missiles on him, and it turned out I didn't even need to fire one. One of the things I'm trying to do too, that I don't really do very often, and I'm trying to teach myself to be aware of it, is shield arc distribution. You'll notice that I have a number of shields surrounding my ship on that display here. Right here where my crosshairs are. Oops. I must not use concentration on the fact that I'm still being attacked. At any rate, you can affect how fast they recharge at the expense of other shields by selecting what shield you want to prioritize. And then you can reset them. And I'm trying to be more aware of that sort of thing. And hopefully, doing that sort of thing will help my survivability. Another thing I'm also attempting to become more aware of now, although that's still in a very limited sense, is my power distribution between shields, weapons, and thrusters. And the only reason that really came up, oh, aren't they upset? And the only reason that really comes up for me is if I'm on a planet or anything with any real gravity, and I need to take off from with a large ship, the gravity may be too big for the thrusters to deal with if they're all evenly distributed. But I found that if you choose to put all your power into thrusters, it's a lot easier. So I'm trying to have some awareness, at least as far as the thrusters go, but I haven't really experimented between shields and weapons. It's a future project. Now, I'd like to point out that my current balance is 189,881 credits. My previous balance before we started was 189,612 credits. So I have cleared 200 credits profit on all of this. Now, yes, I realize that I could have done the same thing off of Freelancer, and have done. But that wasn't the point. The point was, can I do a single day rental of a Cutlass Black and come out of it with money, with profit? And just doing the bounty hunting missions, the answer is yes. All of that said, you gotta have to accept the fact that, A,
Quantum drive is now on.
I've got some experience in doing this stuff. I've been playing the game for a number of months now, so while I don't consider myself good, I can at least compete against an AI. But just as importantly, I'm able to access those larger crime stat missions. If I were just starting out, I'd have to do the initial mission to make bounties open to me, and then I'd have to complete a number of bounties so I can get enough reputation built that they would put me against crime stat 3 and crime stat 4 bounties. And of course, well, by that time, of course, like I said, I wouldn't be doing these crime stat 3 bounties in a light fighter. I mean, I can, but it's rough and it tears my ship apart badly. I don't really think it's really worth it. Whereas in a Cutlass Black or in a Freelancer, crime stat 4 bounties are things that are doable. Although I don't know if I'd want to try that right now on this particular ship because, one, I'm not all that experienced with flying the Cutlass, and two, just as importantly, it doesn't have any advanced equipment on it, which has its own problems. Now, what I'm doing right now is kind of a twofold little deal here. Part one, I need to repair my ship, not to mention restock it. I've used up a missile, and I've used a fairly decent amount of ammunition for my ballistic weapons, although not as much as I thought. I realized that we have one that says 558 and one that says 5584. One day they will fix the font so that they make sense. Or font sizes. Or maybe wider displays, or who knows. Doesn't matter because I'm hopefully... yeah, I guess that's the important addition that I didn't mention. I'm going to try to rearm and repair. The problem is that bugs have been happening, and it's perfectly possible that I'm going to land here and I'm going to be unable to do any of that because of the bug. But that brings me to the secondary reason I'm here. Since I have a cargo bay, I'm going to put in some cargo. Now, I don't expect to be doing a Laranite run on this, but I'll certainly do a check for it. One thing, I don't know that I have enough money to fully stock the hold with Laranite, and if I did, it would wipe me out. And you have to be conscious of 30Ks. I'm going to lower my landing gear. I'm going to turn on my VTOL.
Landing gear down.
And And I'm going to try to aim for this landing pad. Because I don't want to take the larger landing pad. I'm going to leave it open for anybody who has, say, a large ship, like a Caterpillar.
Frontal impact warning. Deck impact warning.
Autoland's been a dicey thing lately, but I'll try it.
Deck impact warning. Automated landing. Landing complete.
Okay, we're going to see if I can do the restock, rearm, and all that. No, well, I kind of suspected that was going to be the case.
Engines offline.
So we're going to hop out and stick some quality minerals in. Once I nail down exactly where I need to run. I currently have 8 minutes of life left to me because of the heat. Because I did not put on an undersuit and helmet designed to deal with this kind of heat. Bad me. That's okay though. Because once I'm inside here, back to climate control. Alright, let's see what's in here. Now you'll see I have 46 standard cargo units to work with, which isn't anywhere near, well, it's 20 less than the Freelancer. And I can fill up, and this will certainly do a lot of damage to my finances. But what's life without a little risk, right? So we have a number of challenges ahead now. Challenge 1. Get to Lorville. I mean, I guess I could technically go to Area 18, but we're going to go to Lorville first. The second possibility is scarier. That the landing splines will screw up and get me killed. Now, all this cargo nicely and neatly put in here. But as scary as his landing splines are, they are not the scariest thing. The scariest thing
Engines
is the possibility of
online.
30k server crashes.
Launch complete.
If you want to know the real meaning of fear, this is the real meaning of fear.
UF is online.
Okay, I got everything taken care of except for that.
Your flares are online.
There we go.
Landing gear up.
I'm high enough that I can now target Lorville. And here we go. The adventure begins.
Quantum drive is now on.
If all goes well, I'll make a little bit of profit.
Quantum drive is now off.
Not a huge amount of profit because, you know, I'm not flying a Caterpillar or a Carrack or really anything that has hundreds of standard cargo units to play with. Of course, that said, in order to fill that much space, you need to have a lot more money than what I've got now.
Quantum drive is now off.
Alright, Lorville to go. Goal here is to get close enough that I can open up the communications,
Quantum drive is now on.
and request a landing bay. If I get that far, then the odds are good that it will have a happy ending. I mean, I can still end up crashing. And I mean, by crashing, I don't mean crash as in server crash. I mean crash as in fly my ship into something solid. That could still happen. Particularly in light of the fact that, you know, we have the new flight model, the atmospherics, all that to mess with.
Quantum drive is now off.
And needless to say, it's put me in one of the worst possible places I can get as far as my approach vector, shall we say, to TISA spaceport. Because I am literally approaching the outskirts of town towards the spaceport. It also puts me about as far as I possibly can get from the air traffic control. Hearing restricted area. Thank you for that insight. The good news is I'm in an armistice zone, so I can't be shot down at this point by somebody. I could get rammed. Let's hope that I don't have to worry about that. Okay, ATC has contacted me. I'm going to open up the communications.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
And there we go. I can breathe a little bit easier. The 30K will not stop me. What can stop me are the landing splines, the landing bay, my piloting. All these things are still potential problems. I'm going to start cutting down my speed a bit because I want to be able to maneuver. So I can go into here like I should and not have the autopilot do something horrible to me. So far so good. We are on approach. I'm still keeping this slow speed, however, relatively speaking. I mean, 76 meters a second is exactly walking speed, but still. And once I'm through, I'm going to stop things a little bit. Put on VTOL so I don't crop any. So I can identify my landing bay. Landing bay looks like it's that small one that's just above that arrow. Nice thing about having the VTOL rolling is that I should not have too much of a problem with staying relatively level and not lose altitude. That was theory anyway. Get myself more or less aligned before I open up communications again to tell them to open the bloody door. Because again,
That request has already been granted.
these guys are a little quick on the trigger finger as far as opening and closing the door. No, I think I'm going too fast. I'm going too fast.
Starboard impact warning.
Drop the landing gear.
Landing gear down.
Level up.
Starboard impact warning.
Just take a look at my left and right, see if I'm within the squares.
Rear impact warning. Landing
Landing
complete.
complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Let's see if I have any of the, no, still can't do any of the stock repairs. Well, that's okay. We'll be a few minutes anyway.
Engines offline.
Let's power everything off and take a sigh of relief, because now nothing is going to stop me from getting this cargo offloaded. Even if we 30k now, there's only one possible way this could pose me. And that would be if someone managed to run aboard my ship right now. Didn't happen. So, that load of laranite is getting sold. Lorville is not a pretty place. I'm sure you've noticed that going through the spaceport and going out of the Metro Center area where I respawned in. Very industrialized. And it's not for nothing that you see occasional billboards talking about problems with oxygen, pollution issues, that sort of thing. That is an awful environment to be working in. However, my goal now is to go to a somewhat better class building. Made it on the train before it pulled out. We are now going to the Central Business District, which is basically the Hurston Dynamics building. You saw that huge building when I was on approach. That's the Hurston Dynamics building. We don't get to see very much of it, however. We just get to see a tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of it. The building certainly puts you more in mind of some of those buildings in Blade Runner, those huge, well, the Tyrell building, for example. I hear that as a comparison. In fact, Lorville, I've heard, basically compared to Blade Runner pretty favorably, really. You've got your industrialized worker areas, kind of not quite slums, but not quite suburban, shall we say. Not even urban blight to be accurate. And then you'll have the area we're going to now, which I believe we are about to pull into. You can see, just look out these windows, the type of buildings look different.
Now arriving at Central Station. Please watch your step when disembarking the train.
And then you come out here. And you know you're filthy rich when you can have heaps of huge statues of yourself all over the front of this building. I mean, good heavens. I don't know if that's solid gold or if it's painted gold or equally likely it's all laranite. That would explain why they have so much laranite runs. Because they need to manufacture more of those statues. I mean, sheesh. Plus, you get a statue in here. Yes, you too could one day be that rich Star Citizen. Of course, you'd need hacks to do it. And here we are at the trade terminals. The favorite place to be because that's where you get to sell off the profits. And that netted me, oh, let's see, I had 189, so maybe 11,000 credits. It's probably comparable in time to deal with that as it is to deal with the bounty missions in that period of time. Although it might be close. Well, no, it's not really. Well, in that period of time, right. I mean, it took me about an hour or so to earn the credits needed to pay off the rental, and that was roughly 20-some thousand credits. In a round trip, in a quick trip to Ariel and back here, that would be about maybe 20 minutes for 10,000. So, as long as the supply holds out, it shows why cargo running is a reasonably profitable venture. But it is not the best profitable venture. The best at the moment, or at least the most reliable. Well, I don't even know if reliable is the right word. The most consistent method of earning profit is to go mining. And you'll do better if you have an owned prospector, because then you can use the mining heads, whatever you can use better mining heads, you can use mining consumables. I don't know if you can use mining consumables on the rented ones. I'll make a note for that to look into if I do a stream for mining only.
Next stop, Pizza Spaceport.
It's not a priority at the moment, but I could see it. Oh, I think I can count myself pretty lucky. I see in the in-game chat that we had at least one person there who's been having plenty of server crashes. So I am going to count myself highly fortunate that I did not get one of those during that little Laranite run. Because it happens. And there's been much work done on videos and the like as to how you can try to mitigate the potential losses of your cargo from a 30K crash. They all require you to be relatively close to a destination.
Now arriving.
Most of the time when I find those crashes happen,
Watch your step when disembarking the train.
it's usually because I'm en route. If I'm in the middle of a quantum travel and the server crashes, bye-bye. And of course it'll be from the outpost to, a place you can sell. Wouldn't be so easy to be the other way around because I wouldn't have anything to worry about.
Weapons within Lorville is strictly prohibited. Your safety is paramount to us.
Alright. We've done some decent missioning here. We've done a cargo run. But we still have the black available. Unfortunately, it looks like the black, because of the way and this is part of the landing problems, I think, that are related to the whole restock, rearm. You land, and if you don't land just right, then it doesn't recognize it as being there. So you have to claim it. And that's, more money down the drain, more time to wait for the, what is it, 3 minutes before I can expedite? 3 minutes. And that's just a pain. Almost very literally a pain. And of course, since it's at claim, I can't store it, and I'm afraid I didn't pay attention as to what hangar I landed in. And instead of running around through multiple hangars and discovering that I finally find it only to have it.
We're sorry. You've exceeded the allotted time to depart.
There it
You'll have to
is.
return your ship to storage.
The good news is that they will eventually
Initiating ship
automatically
storage
store it,
procedure. For your safety, please vacate the area. Thank you for your cooperation.
even though they won't let me manually do it. They'll certainly do it through their method. I can usually
Initiating ship
be
storage
sure
procedure.
that a trip
For your safety,
between
please
TISA
vacate the area.
and
Thank you for your
central
cooperation.
business and back will get me close to the point where it has to be stored. If it hasn't, then it certainly will by the time I get to the hangar again. There it is. You notice that the indicator for my ship is gone. They have stored the ship. That means I can retrieve the ship as opposed to claiming it. And we can go out again right now. Six. We have hangar 6 again. And I can't help but wonder if that was the hangar I started out with when I landed. No way of knowing. I mean, there was a way of knowing, but I wasn't paying attention at the time. Really, I was never going to be able to get the ship taken off by that time anyway. It would have been stored while I was getting the pre-flight taken care of. I think for our next trick is we will do some box deliveries. Or more accurately, a single set of box deliveries because, well, there's a lot of movement going on here and the payout is not great. At least it's not great now. As of the last patch on Public Test Universe, the PTU that is the make sure everything does what we expect it to do before we push it live. They've apparently increased the payouts for box missions. Possibly to help make up for the fact that, the 30k will hose your run and get nothing for it if you're on your way to deliver the last box. I don't think the increased payouts are still going to be worth it. I really don't. Okay, what I'm trying to do here is... Okay, I like this route. I like this route because 2 of my pickup locations are on this planet, and the 3rd pickup location is on the same moon as the delivery destination. I think that's great.
Hello and welcome aboard your
Now that I'm here centered in,
Your systems
I might be able to do my... Yes, see? They put me exactly where I'm supposed to be, and thus I can rearm, repair, do all that stuff. Yes, I'm cutting into a bit of the money I've made today, but let's face it, that's part of the game. And my hydrogen fuel is... Wow, look at that hydrogen fuel. You know what else? I'm not refueling. Like, at all.
engines offline.
Okay, well, that's a world of not good. Apparently I'm in a position where I should be able to restock, but it's not letting me actually restock. Maybe I would have been better off claiming. Oh well, nothing for it now. The good news is I'm still not going into combat.
You are clear to launch.
Turn the engines back on.
Complete. Impact warning.
Let's turn around and find where the takeoff splines are. Here we are.
Thank you, and please visit again.
Forward ho. Now the downside of having my first two pickup spots on planet is that I'm going to have to get myself to the appropriate height, 9,000 meters,
Landing gear up.
in order for me to quantum jump to my target locations. The good news about it, however, is that since I know they're on the planet, I can set them now and not have to worry about orbital markers. Okay, we're going to... Yeah, that'll help. If I get the steeper my angle, the faster I'm going to get out of the 9 kilometer, I guess, I don't know, bubble? I don't know if bubble is really the word. Okay. Turn on quantum travel. Orient myself towards my destination. And the good news is there are landing pads in these locations, which means I will have yet another attempt at landing where I need to land and try to restock.
Quantum drive is now off.
Oh, another fun fact about patches they were working on. If you've been watching the streams I've done for any lengthier period of time, or if you remember my highlighted video of my desperate attempt to get one box because the ramp didn't reach the ground, that is being fixed if it hasn't been fixed already. So, good times ahead should I return to the microtech area to do some box deliveries. That said, I still don't think that people are going to really be appreciating box deliveries as long as they have this multi-stage delivery. Not unless they put back the one-way deliveries. For smaller profit, I'll concede. But is it really smaller profit if you actually get them turned in, as opposed to, I don't know, having a 30K hit you when you're in the middle of your delivery? Just something to think about. Okay, we are on approach. And it's getting darker. One thing I think that would be useful for these ships would be an internal compass. I mean, just knowing which direction is sunrise and which direction is sunset, I think, would help a great deal. Alright. Gonna try again to orient myself. If you're wondering why my acceleration forward is slow, it's because I lowered my, I changed the engines from horizontal to vertical. Oh yeah, I should probably have my landing gear down too. It would be
Landing.
most embarrassing to, you know, land the hard way. I'm going to scoot myself a little further. I want to try to center myself. Because I really do think that that might impact
Complete.
whether or not the repair and all that works. But no, it does not.
Engines offline.
Well, it's not the first time I've been wrong. It's not even the 5 millionth time I've been wrong. Doesn't matter. What matters right now is the package. Ordinarily, I would put the ramp back up, but there is no cargo in here. There's nothing valuable I'm carrying. And if I have to respawn and all that, I'm out, what, 4,000 credits? I really am not going to lose sleep. And there's our first delivery box. A box of metals. I find it interesting that maybe it's a bunch of tools inside, as opposed to, you know, actual mined metals or something like that. It is windy, and that in combination with the fact that I'm carrying a box means my walking speed is painfully slow. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm, you know, feeling my age here, but this is probably a good preview of what it's like to get really old. Everything should change a bit once I can turn and get into the ramp. And we are in. Let's set the box down. Let's close her up. And unlike the Freelancer, I don't have to worry about the turret being a block on the door. I really wish they would fix that. I've been paying attention to the patch notes of the public test universe, and I have not seen any indications that that's going to get fixed anytime soon.
Engines online.
Alright,
Launch complete.
vertical takeoff and landing. Doing its thing. Horizontal. And start angling upward. Oh yeah, landing gear. I have not done very well with that today. And while we're climbing our way to the 9-kilometer limits, I am going to locate my next package, which is at Stanhope. Once I have that, it will be nice and easy to go to Magda, which, among other things, has lighter gravity. That matters more than you might think. A little higher, a little higher, a little higher. As you might guess, with these incredibly massive 4,000 credit payouts, I do not recommend box deliveries as a method of making money. Far from it. And adding insult to injury, all that maneuvering to get myself to the point where I could jump there was more or less killed because I dropped below the 9,000 magic number. Let's try this again. Something is wrong here. Oh. You know what? Stanhope's not where I want to go after all. That's the problem when you have multiple packages on multiple planets. Well, multiple packages on the same planet. So where the heck is my other one? Upper Eye. Well, that explains an awful lot of reasons I've been having trouble getting my target destination done, and I'm once again below the 9,000. And this is just another reason why I'm a bigger fan of the Freelancer than I am of, well, compasses. Plus, I like the design language of the Freelancer a lot better. There we go.
Quantum drive is now on.
Yeah, the time it's taking me to get this 4,000 done, it really is not worth it. And I don't see any indications that there are higher paying jobs in the future, shall we say. Delivery missions one way, you could eventually get yourself into doing missions that would give you 8,000 credits if you take it from one planet to another. But I have not seen any indication that things will improve with box deliveries.
Quantum drive is now off.
Now, some of that may be because I haven't done enough of them. That's a valid possibility. But I don't think they would have made such a big deal about making higher payouts for delivery missions. Unless this was it. So pound for pound, credits over time. I cannot recommend doing delivery missions for anything other than going out and seeing the star system. I do make an exception for more criminal box runs, however. They tend to be similar, but they pay better. Of course, they have their own hazards. Let's drop our speed a bit. We will once again try to restock everything in the usual desperate attempt to find the right landing spot. I think, however, that I'm going to be rude about it. And by that I mean I'm going to land in the big spot. Still hitting the wrong buttons for my VTOL.
Landing gear down.
Because maybe if I center myself in a really
Deck impact warning. Front impact warning. Landing complete.
because in theory that would have a larger rectangle. Well, it was a nice theory, wasn't it?
Engines offline.
Let's grab box 2. No, not straight back. This isn't a freelancer. And it's windy here too, so once again I have managed to put myself in a position where it's going to be a long walk back. Luckily, Hurston is at least temperate. It doesn't give me a survival meter most of the time. That will probably not be the case when we get to that medical supplies. And because we are on Hurston, however, while we may have a temperate weather, we have standard gravity, which means I can't hop high enough to get on the landing pad. I gotta take the ramp. It's sad how it'll just shave seconds. Still, that didn't take as long as I feared. Must not be as windy as I was expecting. Now the good news is, since I'm going to the moon, I don't have to worry about the problems I had going here, dipping below the 9K limit. Because I am doing anything but looking down. At worst, I'll be horizontal again, because it might be an orbital marker I have to worry about. While we're waiting, let's get the course set as best I can. I want to go to the pickup site, not to be confused with the drop-off site. And there we are.
Is at 50%.
Well, I hope that did not say what I just thought I heard it say. It did say what I thought I was going to say. Well, that's disturbing. I have 50% left in my hydrogen fuel. I've burned off a lot of fuel. I've burned off a lot of fuel with takeoff and landing here. That's just a little bit worrisome. And the fact that I'm seeing the red triangle there tells me there's an orbital marker I have to worry about.
Quantum drive is now on.
The good news, though, is I shouldn't need to worry about using nearly as much fuel to take off and land off of Magda.
Quantum drive is now on.
Being unable to refuel has been a big problem today, it seems. I think I've managed once to have the refuel and restock option come up, and it wasn't even working there.
Quantum drive is now off.
The good news is I think that's going to be on the light side, as opposed to the dark side.
Quantum drive is now on.
And there it is.
Quantum drive is now off.
Of course, since I'm flying upside down, I want to right myself just a little bit. Easier to land that way. Let's bump up our speed close distance. Of course, it occurs to me that bumping up my speed like that is something that uses more fuel. Just wasn't thinking. But on the bright side, it's not like I'm using a full thrust here. Of course, that said, I'm also not using zero thrust, so now I'm using thrust to get myself down. But I use a lot less fuel with 17% thrust. Really want to get this thing refueled. I don't care so much about restocking the weapons. The Quantum drive, I could care less about. I'm 99% filled up on that. But man, oh man, that hydrogen fuel. Now you'll notice that rock that just popped up. Usually that kind of thing only came up when you were doing scans back in the day. But now apparently they show up on any ship scanner without even scanning. I don't know if I agree with that. On the other hand, I was not consulted. I realize that this is a shock. Okay, BTOL.
Automated landing.
Now I did this a little higher than I usually do, so maybe it'll put me in the right spot.
Landing complete.
Yeah, I keep trying and I keep failing.
Engines offline.
Oh well. Hopefully I can get to where I need to go within 40% of my hydrogen fuel. That's what I love about low grav moons. The big jumps. Oh, I'm so easily amused. Open sesame. Uh-oh. If I can't open doors, that means we have a 30K incoming. Because one of the biggest signs of a server crash don't see anything on the chat about it, but that's okay, it'll catch on quickly enough. Well, at least it's temperate out, I won't have to worry about, timer. Okay, this got weird. Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Server lag? And the package is also underneath me, which means it's nowhere it can be retrieved. If we don't have a 30K incoming soon, I don't know what's going to happen. But here I am where I'm supposed to be, according to my markers. And the one thing I'm not seeing is my delivery package. And this is why I don't recommend doing box deliveries now. Because if even one bugs out, especially if it's the last one, oh wait. Okay. Either I was completely stupid and moved and went to the wrong spot entirely, or the pickup package thing moved somewhere. Well, you know what? I'm not going to argue with good fortune. If it was me being dumb, well, it's not the first time I've done something dumb. And considering that 2 minutes ago I was thinking that we were having a 30K come up, all that said, a 30K can still happen. So that's why I don't like the box missions these days. God, pick up. I have no problem with it in and of itself. It's not too far from what a lot of people would do back in the day, where they would grab a bunch of missions with the same destination or a different pickup point. But they would be getting substantially more than 4,000 credits to do all of that. this, I'm spending a lot of time.
Engines online.
I've spent roughly 30 minutes almost doing this. And I'm going to get 4,000 credits out of it. That's really just garbage. And the risk factor is higher because, again, 30Ks. I mean, if I wanted to do something with low risk back in the day, I would just do the one-way missions, then pick up another one-way mission, and so on and so on. I believe that is my destination point. Let's double check my contract to make sure. Because that would be the kind of day Perlman is where I want to go. Haha. See, this is why I check these things, because I don't trust myself. There we go.
Quantum drive is now on. Landing.
Nowadays, I can go through, pick up these 3 packages, and I could 30K right now, and I'll basically wasted a half hour and no profit. Whereas if I were doing these as one-way missions, I would at least have a couple thousand to profit. So no, I am not a fan of the way they've got it put up now.
Quantum drive is now off.
If server crashes were not a thing, I might believe differently. But server crashes are a thing. Of course, all that said, it's sure nice to have all these buildings with ramps that reach the ground, right? So here I am running around doing this delivery, and to make it even worse, I can drop off each package, but I still won't get any of the money until the 3rd one is delivered. So it's not like I'm being paid for each package, it's for the whole deal. So no, I'm very much not agreeing with the idea behind that. I mean, it sounds nice in concept, but it has issues.
Frontal impact warning. Landing gear down.
I'm not quite straightened out. I don't know why I'm bothering to straighten out, because it's not like I'm going to be able to do any refuel or restock.
Landing complete.
I hope springs eternal, right?
Engines offline.
And here we are, tail end of our drama. Hopefully they're using the same drop-off destination. Looks like they are. Unfortunately, it seems that this part of Magda is a little less hospitable than the other part of Magda. It's a little warm out here. Actually, I take it back. That's a negative. It's a little cold out here. Alright, let's see if this will let me deposit. One down, 2 to go. Now see, with the light gravity, I can jump up on the landing pad. Box number 2. And there's the survival estimate timer in the lower left again. A little over 10 minutes of survival here before I freeze into a lump. That's not going to be a problem though. I don't plan to be out here that long. Even if it were insanely windy, I would still likely be able to make it to the Cutlass and back. Drop off number 2. Done! 1 to go. 1 more package until I've earned my colossal 4,000 credits. Now keep in mind, I earned 20,000 credits in about an hour dogfighting. I earned 10,000 credits in half that time with a cargo run of Laranite, which admittedly was the best possible scenario I had. But still. Box deliveries. If you're looking for profit, this just ain't the way. Okay, apparently it has gotten a little windy or something because I'm walking even slower. Of course, I'm also carrying a box of metal. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Is it possible that these have different these cargo boxes have different mass, perhaps? So a box of metal would be heavier than a box of medical supplies. If so, kudos to the developers. That is an impressive thing. And drop-off time. Step back. Watch the process. I don't have to stand and wait, but wanna. 4,000 AUEC. That's Alpha UEC. Alpha United Earth credits. And 4,000 credits. Alright, so it's been a couple hours. In that time, I've made back my investment in renting the Cutlass Black and came out with an extra 10,000, well, a little over 10,000 credits. Actually, you're kind of pushing 20,000 actually. I started at 189,612. So yeah, we're close to 20,000 credit profit on this. That worked out pretty good. And for the icing on the cake, I can choose to load up and do a run of diamonds and get a little more credit. And I think that is going to do it for the day, however. I don't think that anybody needs to have me inflict another Lorville run on them. Not to mention, if a 30k happens, nobody needs to listen to me screaming in anguish for it. And this feels like a good time as any to pretty much wrap things up for the stream today. Usual runs on Saturday for Star Citizen. Sorry, I keep saying Saturday when I mean Sunday. Perhaps my brain is trying to tell me something about scheduling. As I was planning to say properly, every afternoon on Sunday from 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern, I stream my session of Star Citizen and
Engines online.
generally do whatever I feel like doing at a given time. I also stream on Wednesday nights from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern,
Landing gear.
at which point I'm streaming Star Trek Online, where I am currently working on advancing a Romulan character through the storyline. Or at least a Romulan Republic aligned characters actually Romulan. Long story. If you don't follow Star Trek Online, won't mean anything to you. So that's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this stream. It's been a quiet stream today, but you know, they can't all be winners there, can they? So until next time, this is Korath Landwalker signing off.